Good evening, Finland. You may have heard me earlier. My name's Jason Fox. I don't really need this, as you probably realised. So, who am I? I put my job title into one of these AI image generators, and apparently I look like this, which I wasn't very satisfied with, so went for another image generator. And actually I look like that, which is a hell of a lot better, isn't it, folks? My job title is Fireware Senior Technical Evangelist, and that actually demonstrates my motivation. What is my motivation? Again, we'll go into these little AI images. I'm either that one, nice looking guy, or that one. Because if you take the title Fireware Senior Technical Evangelist and make an anagram out of it, it is, of course, cares if an ethical gent or evil swine. I'm an ethical gent because I contribute to open source projects like the DITA-OT Bootstrap plugin. I'm an evil swine because I do it using ANT and XSLT. So, about this time last DITA-OT day, we were in Rotterdam, it was getting dark. I was describing how to use dark mode in Bootstrap. And there was a pre-production version of it available on Bootstrap. It wasn't integrated. And it took the Bootstrap team another 8 months to actually get that into their mainstream, so I had to find something else to do. So, as usual, I find things which irritate me about DITA-OT, and one of the things which really irritated me about the HTML stuff is that you never get one of these up here, a little search box. So I decided to implement a search based on Lunr.js. Now, in order to do this, what you need is Lunr.js is a JavaScript plugin. So obviously you need to have a front end HTML. JavaScript works perfectly well. But for your pre-processing, you want to use something like Node so you can create the necessary files in question. So it's a relatively simple bit of JavaScript inside the system. It's just give me a lump of JSON, which is set up properly, get various fields out of it, create a bit of output JSON, fine, not a problem. So technically what we've got is these steps here. You need to extract all the text from your DITA. You need to merge them into one massive great big file, which DITA-OT 4.1.2 managed to break my way of doing it because they updated the Saxon engine. And I had to work out how to do it properly. And then you create two files. One which has got these unique IDs for the preview, which is because we're doing the HTML plugin. If you've got a short desk, fine, you've got some proper JSON you can look at. Otherwise, it needs to take the first bit of text. And then you create the index. So if I just very briefly show you some bits of stuff. So the first thing to do is to extract your data, because you're not going to be able to do this in one lump. So this is just got my list of files, and I just need to get hold of the title, whatever the document is, the abstract if there is one, or the actual text if necessary. So I've got something to work with. I then need to go through each one of these and somehow get it into a format which is a valid JSON, which means I have to do these silly things like put slashes in there because we need double slashes to make sure they're not escape codes and what have you. And eventually I get with a lump of JSON which I can deal with, and I can then look at get the information coming out. So obviously every single time you've got something, you've got problems with quote marks and stuff like that. Now for the preview, you need to get something out which is proper HTML. So I've got to put all these angle brackets, things like get a div, get various things remove all the white space because it needs to be JSON, and then put it into my magic marker to actually get the information out. Now, what happens then is that it generates a couple of files which can then be used, because there's a big problem with search. Because next thing, this way around. We need to make sure that when we've got stuff on there, it prints up, search results, and it prints out search results in the right language. And the reason why this is the DITA Bootstrap Lunr plugin is that I need to have a well-known ID to be able to put stuff into my HTML. I need to have it so I can put stuff into my DOM. So this is my the problem with search is that you've got various statements here. I've taken the three most popular languages on the internet: English, Finnish, and German. And you can see three statements. You can see two of those statements are about my dog. You can see on there. I used to own a cat, but I do not currently own a cat. And this is obviously the keyword dog. This is the keyword cat, but you've got something in between. But most of this information is not useful for search because actually all of these words are filler, they're stop words. And the stop words in different languages are obviously going to be different because of the stuff which Frank was saying earlier, because languages are structured differently. But even worse than that is that if you look at the words in red, you don't want to have separate buckets for dog and dogs, or koira and koirista. You need to make sure that these are lumped together. And there's a problem with this, as you probably realise, at least the Finns should realise it. There's a Poland balls thing, is that if you've got English, you've got dog and dogs. If you've got German, you've got Hund, Hundes, and Hunden. And then you've got Finnish. You're smiling because you're obviously Finnish. And yeah, with Finnish, it's Finland joins in. And if we had longer, we'd get the Finns to chant this. It goes koira, 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 and it keeps on going and on going and on going. But fortunately, there are plugins which will do this by regex. So effectively, every version of Koira is going to get into one bucket, which means you have usable search. Now, this is fine. Normally, I would have my JSON code in the my JSON file, which has got all these search buckets and my preview. But one thing which Roger pointed out is he'd like to be able to do this offline. And I said to him, we're not going to do it offline because the DITA plugin doesn't work offline. So he said, I want to get the DITA plugin to work in offline. So I put in a patch to the DITA plugin offline, and then you can do this as well. So you can actually do this on your test DITA. You can see there's these sort of placeholders right at the top. Well, now they're usually null because you normally get the file, but you can actually place all your JSON into one massive, great big file, which means you've got a massive file to load on each time, and you can actually load up what's going on. So it makes this file massively long, but it does work. So before I do that, I can just briefly show you what I'm talking about. Here is the DITA Bootstrap plugin. If I put in the word command, it shows me all the pages which have got command on it. So that's got command on it. I click on it and it comes up as necessary. This is really rather useful. You could use the same concept to do this using different searches like Algol Search or Solar or Google Search or whatever. The advantage of this one is it's free, it's local, and it keeps people on your website. So, clone pages. Why are all Bootstrap web pages so boring? I'd say search and style. This is the DITA Bootstrap thing which I was talking about last year. That's one of my pages. That's another of my pages. Do you notice they're all a little bit samey, bit boring? Now this is like the default HTML is a little bit boring. It's because Bootstrap is designed to be mobile first. There's a basic layout, but what you really want is actually different themes for that. And there's this website called Bootstrap which will give you different themes available, and they look quite different, and they have an awful lot of them. Now, what this means is that if I go back to the website here, there's a little plugin here which shows it down. If I wanted to get it in green, it'll get it in green. Or if I want to get it in nice dark thing. So you've got a wider variety of pages you might want to look at. And you can see they all look somewhat similar but somewhat different. But that's only the oh, that's a good point. Notice how the code block also looks as if it fits in. That's a separate plugin which actually is using the Bootstrap values. But that's not really good enough, because let's say your company colour is yellow. You'd need to have the bit at the top in yellow, wouldn't you? Or you'd need to if I'm highlighting on here, you'd want the highlight on the various things to be your company colours. So it's perfectly possible to extend that. And if I extend that, I said, okay, so basic level is you just put an extra parameter into your Bootstrap theme. It will come in whichever colour you like. This is one of the more colourful versions you can get, Quartz, but there's lots and lots of different ones there. But if you want to go all in, it is possible to just generate one of those themes, and you take their Sass and you extend the parameters as you see fit. I want my primary colour to be blue. And then it will generate a CSS file. Then you can just host it like you'd normally do with the CSS. So that makes life a lot easier. Okay, so now that we've got something which is nice, let's make it ugly. There is a plugin I've created ages ago to put stamp draft document over my PDFs. I'd like to do the same sort of thing with my HTML. You've probably seen things which say draft, do not use. Well, this is quite simple, because there's already a plugin to inject additional CSS, but there is now the ability to put things like draft document on the bottom. Now, this is an extension of the existing Bootstrap. You've got a Bootstrap plugin has got a similar like pre-process pre-process post. It's got Bootstrap process pre and Bootstrap process post, and that means I can do things like change where I'm going to put my sidebar, which values I'm going to put in my sidebar, or do I need to put some defaults in various different parameters, and so on and so forth. Again, all available online. Now, there are also various additions which you can do to Bootstrap itself. So Bootstrap obviously tries to be relatively small, doesn't do everything. You might want additional stuff. So here we go. So if I go to the Bootstrap extension, you can get colors like chocolate, or you can get additional components like the parallax component, which if you scroll up, you can see it's got this lovely parallax thing here, where you can see where the various things come through. Or if you want to have images, this works particularly well on mobile, where you want to have a small image, but then you want to be able to go through things which you can see on screen. You click on that, you can get various other bits and pieces. So I can see my various pictures coming through, whatever. There are extensions which you might want to do. Now, because the DITA Bootstrap has got a template file, you can use that as the basis of your extension to the template, and then it's offering me the relevant hooks, so I can basically do the same thing as I did with DITA Bootstrap, which is you do something like this, which is say, okay, I misuse output class again. I put output class on the element, and then the same way as it works with DITA Bootstrap itself, to say the type of the thing it is, which is then a relevant piece of CSS. When you're doing this, the important point is that, as I said, this is the override. So that's the standard set of customizer. Where has it gone? Yeah, that's the standard one at the top, import, and then I include my various customizations. And I override the process HDFF, which is putting the JavaScript and CSS on top, so that I've got the necessary CSS for this plugin in there as well. But the important point is that you must include a next match call, because there are presumably other plugins which also want to inject stuff in there as well. So as you can see, it looks pretty. And I'm trying to keep it close to time for questions. My name's Whispering Jason Fox. Thank you very much.